What's up? This is Brandon Donahue, and you're listening to the All Bass No Treble podcast, where we talk all things hip-hop, culture, music, lifestyle, and more. So kick back and join myself and my co-host as we feature our next special guest this week. What's up, family? You are tuned into this week's special episode of All Bass No Treble. I'm very excited. Shout out to Mama Shelter LA. We're up here on a rooftop. Beautiful. I got my brother with me. This is special. This is going to be dope.
This is an episode for the books.
I feel like I talked to Wolf and Jordan, and I said, I think me and Ro just need to sit down us and do like a, because I feel like after the first episode, a lot of people still had questions for us.
For sure. Yeah.
So it was
I felt the same way. I felt like we needed to go at it more cohesively.
Yeah, just more like deep shit, because we kind of, it's very easy when you have three different minds in a room, especially musical people, to get sidetracked and just talk about an album for an hour, and then it's just like no one really got like the wait, I thought this was gonna be more of like a one-on-one, like know where you guys are from type shit.
It goes so fast. Every time we got on, it goes
too.
So
Everyone
fast.
always says that to me, like, yo, you need to shorten the episodes. I'm like, you don't understand, that hour and a half to hour flies by.
Yeah, it does.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
But here we are. This is dope.
Yeah,
we got a cheers. Cheers to Mama Shelter. Shout out for having us. Appreciate it. The beautiful drinks and shots.
Mama Shelter is always the spot.
Gotta kick it off with a shot.
Yeah, you got to
celebrate success.
Yeah.
Look where we're at. It's kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah, this is crazy, especially physically right now.
I like think about how crazy it is sometimes from where we started, from where we began to know each other was 15, almost nearly 15 years ago.
Wild thing to say, bro. That ages us like a motherfucker. Like, I'm like, wow, 15 years.
Bro, it's wild. Like, sometimes I think about, like, we're grown now. Like, we're grown.
Grown.
Like, we grown-ass men.
Yeah.
Like,
sad.
But you knew me when I had, like, no armpit hair.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild.
Do you now?
I do. Armpit hair is fully in there.
Right,
the beard came in.
Yeah.
We all right. We grew.
I know you hit a full foot growth spurt from like, from your senior year to fucking whenever. You hit like a full foot up.
Which is wild, because I feel like a lot of and we're going to like start it from the jump like I talked to you about beforehand, but like it's just, I think it's, people love the dynamic of like what we have because we've known each other that long. Like I heard your first rap.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like I heard you literally come from like
the worst shit that I've heard in a long time. Yeah.
Which we'll get into, because I feel like that's what the people want. But
yeah, that shit is aggressive.
I feel like we should just start it from like the very beginning of how like everything started. Yeah. And even maybe a little bit about your past shit, because like I know a good amount of it.
Right.
But I feel like people don't.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I think just start kind of where you from and how you started in Harwich, and kind of the poverty that you were going through, that I feel like kind of sparked your grittiness and your grind, I would say, to make you want to get out of that situation and get your mother out of that situation and all that. Right. So I'd say maybe start from there, and we can kind of go into how we started then.
All right, for sure. Yeah, originally from Harwich, Massachusetts. I was there till I was like 15 or 13. When I was 13, we then moved to Dennis. I went from Dennis to Yarmouth to Dennis again, and then I moved out on my own and went back to Harwich. But for the majority of it, it's just been all over Cape. I was all over Cape, and I don't want to discredit anyone in like other countries and like people who had it in bad areas, but like by saying poverty. But like I do think the level of just unequal living that I had growing up in the town that I'm from, that definitely added a certain level of hunger. It definitely gave me a sense of outsiderism when it comes to just me not being equivalent to them, you know?
Yeah.
It just felt like, felt like I was just like very pocketed. So I definitely think that was a huge inspiration for me to like really want to succeed with this stuff, you know?
Comfortableness.
What I mean?
Like you didn't have a lot of comfortable times in your life, which I feel like is like crucial. Because even so, like how we've talked about how me and you kind of had very different upbringings, but at the same time, a lot of similarities in how we were maybe raised or the influences we had. Yeah. But it's like a lot of nights I had a bunch of comfortable nights, but I definitely went through a lot of trauma per se and heartache at a very young age.
Absolutely.
Which it's like, it's kind of either or, and there should be no like judgment on like where you're from. It doesn't matter if like you're broke, you're broke. Like if you got no heat, you got no heat.
Yeah.
If you're in Dorchester or Yarmouth, you're sleeping in a house with no heat. It's the same in a way.
Absolutely.
You just might be able to, you don't have to lock your door essentially on Cape is like the difference. But
I still did, but
yeah. Well, even Yarmouth and so too has like a reputation, a more of a reputation
my house
than
in Dennis got broken into multiple times. You know? So,
well, that's what I'm saying. Even from 15 minutes from Dennis, Yarmouth to Wellfleet, it's so different.
Yeah,
like that's what people don't understand about Cape is like it switches like this. Like it's like I feel like when you get to Orleans area, it becomes more of that established comfortability.
That Brewster, Harwich. Yeah, Harwich I would say is like the thing. Chatham's good. Yeah, like after that.
Yeah, Chatham's more than good. Yeah. I don't think you can be from Chatham. Yeah. But we can't say that because someone from Chatham might get mad at us. But I think if you're living in Chatham, you're all right.
Yeah, that's true.
You're good.
Yeah, Chatham's a nice place. But they did mix with Harwich, so, you know, maybe it got a little rougher in Chatham.
They got that little ruffability in them. Them feathers roughed up.
Yeah, bro.
But so, I mean, I remember because we met at Tech freshman year.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, till then, I know you were like in Harwich, Yarmouth area. So a little bit about that. I mean, I know you had your turmoil with your brother growing up and stuff like that. I know your dad wasn't really ever around as you joke. It's the running joke, but at the same time, it's true.
Yeah.
So it's really just your mom that had you. I know your sister was there very, very briefly.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I'd come over to your house in Yarmouth, right next to that dirt pit that you would live by. Like your sister and brother were kind of still around then. And then from then on, like I never really saw them.
Yeah, my sister dipped out a little bit earlier, but she lived right near there with her man at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, my sister was just, there's an 8-year age gap in us. And
That's
she had moved out when she was 16. So that didn't give me much years beyond 8, you know. She was still like in and out of my life, but she had moved out to like the city and took on the grown woman life. So she wasn't really around for, I would say, a large majority of like my older years. And my brother was kind of locked up, or Lord, we don't know where dude ever was.
That's crazy.
But it was so essentially like me and my mom, but she was working a lot too. So yeah, it was just kind of like, I grew up with the whole family, but you know, different parts of the life, different parts of everyone's life.
Yeah, like age gap is crucial. You know what I mean?
My brother's 4 years older than my sister.
There's more relatability there. Like you said, she's 16, you're 8.
Right.
She's already about to do shit, and you're like just like chilling.
Right.
So it's not much.
Yeah. And I was always out biking and shit, so you know I was always out and about. I was never really home, so
we went through phases, bro. Like we went through a hardcore. We thought we were gonna be BMXers phase.
Yeah, I was super phasey. I would say that.
We went through that hard dirt biking phase.
Yeah.
Not phases, but like just like I feel like when you're younger, your mind kind of scrambles.
For
like
sure.
let me tack this, let me tack
everything.
This. Way before even music and shit. Like we listened to music.
Yeah.
Like I was the heavily one that was like always listening to music, but like. And then I remember like the dance phase when we were heavily into dancing.
Yo, the Jabberwockies.
Crumping and shit and seeing the Jabberwockies. Yeah. So when would you say it happened for you? Because like I've always loved music. Like I've always just been like I gravitate this so heavily. There's just something about it. But like you said, you went through kind of those different phases of like dirt bike and BMXing. But I remember when me and you started just fucking around and rapping, like what made you finally click with it when it was like, this is what I want to do and attack for the rest of my life?
I think it was just at first it was an outlet. At first I did music because I was just like, this is therapy. This is, I want to do this for myself. It doesn't have anything to do with success. And then I think enough things happened and I felt enough backlash and people feel some type of way about me doing music. I then wanted revenge. I then wanted my music to be like the reason I succeeded and y'all look stupid type of thing. But I was also just good at it, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of those things aligned with each other. So so I was just like, once I knew people started hating the music, some people started liking that music, and that was enough for me to keep going. So I just felt the love from the few people that did support, and I was like, I want to prove my supporters right, and it's what I love to do. And I just ended up being like, I'm just gonna go all in on this because what else could I see myself doing? And at the time, it wasn't really anything, and music did feel like a livable thing because I could record myself and put music out. You know, it was attainable.
Well, you did the dirty work. You learned it, which was what I was gonna say is like putting in all that time and effort to perfect a craft is not easy.
Yeah.
And like from the point you started to now where you are, me out of probably any motherfucker in the world, I can say that I've seen it the most out of any individual ever.
Like it's went full circle in front of you.
Like even when you send me shit to be like, yo, check this out, what do you think? And I'm like, it's just crazy that this is you now. Like,
I think it honestly, and like in a humble way, I really am kind of still surprised at myself, but just because I feel like my eyes have been closed for the whole journey and I'm just working. Now when I hear my music, I'm like, damn, my old self would have been like, this is dope. And you know, sometimes I have to take that perspective, but I'm
well, even
like,
like, instead of telling people first before I play your song, I just play it and then I see the reactions, and always it's like, yo, who is this? This is just so vibey. Like, I love this. And I'm like, oh, this is Ro. Like,
that's fire.
Because I feel like when you say it's you or someone else, people instantly go, oh, okay. Like, there's an instant stigma on it, some attachment. Like, even people from back home that have known you, they don't hear the music like a random person in Atlanta hears your music.
100%.
Because they're always going to have an attachment or judgment on you. Or like, no, you know what I mean? So like, and I think it was a good thing you just touched on before, because it was one of the questions that we got when we were posting about people is talking about deep shit and stuff. Is it a lot to bring out and be vulnerable, or is it like therapy? I feel like it is like therapy, right? Like I feel like it's probably vulnerable because and there's another question, some of the music you do are scenarios that you've made up that you're just like, cool, I'm gonna write this down.
Right.
But some of them are facts. Like Forgiven. Which I feel like is kind of like, I'm gonna touch base on it, but when I saw Forgiven and we weren't even really like talking like that, I kind of went like, I messaged you and I was like, holy shit, bro, you came so far.
Yeah, I remember
this is
that.
insane. Like, I can't believe this. Which is like, that's being vulnerable. Like, you opened up a lot on that song, but at the same time, it must have helped. It must have helped you close a door and accept shit. And instead of having that, like,
I think that's
attack
why
revenge
I did the
mentality.
Song. Yeah, that's actually why I think I did the song. Is I was just like, it was a week, and I was just feeling like, I just don't want people to ever, like I was just thinking a lot. I'm like, damn, honestly, I do feel bad because my father left my life, and he didn't really get to see me grow up like that. And I'm like, that's his loss, unfortunately. Like, not to be cliche, but I'm just like, he can't get that back. And for me, I feel bad about that. I'm like, that kind of sucks to have that feeling as a grown man.
You put yourself in his perspective, because there's both sides.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck you were going through, but I'm just like, if he ever hears this, I just want him to know that he's forgiven. This isn't like, I don't have any ill will towards you. I just wanted him to know that if he hears my music, like, we're all good. Like, I'm happy with how I turned out as is, like, we're
Which
cool.
I feel like is dope because, like, as you know, my past with my father, I feel like he felt like he didn't get enough forgiveness in his life.
Yeah.
Like I've told you about the more deeper, darker shit with the relationship there. But, like, it's something I can never have. Like, I can never tell him, like, hey, it's okay. Like, I'm not mad at you. Like, I feel like he always felt so judged. And now that I'm about to be like 30 and a grown man, it like sucks. Yeah. And it's like, that's why I always tell people, like, I didn't know his heartache. I didn't know what pushed him to do, drugs and alcohol and all this stuff that as a kid I felt so resentful about. Right. Cause like, why would you do this when you have children? Like, I'm here, like, I got you, but at the same time, I don't know what demons he had, and I never will, and it's very unfortunate. So I think it's dope that you at least had that moment to be like, yo, you're forgiven. Like, don't worry. You know what I mean? I had, in my relationship with him, I came from like a great home. I shout out Pam. I always shout her out.
Pam's the truth.
Pam raised me beautifully. I literally love her. She's the best mother ever. But like, my father was still a great man. He's a big part of why I'm so, like, I feel like loud and energetic and loving. Like, I feel like the biggest components of why people love B are like a lot from my father.
Wow, interesting.
But I only had 12 years to get that. Like, I don't know what it would be like.
Some of it's
like
genetic
now.
Too, though.
Yeah.
Some of it is just like you have certain energies.
But I saw, like, everyone loved him. He just had his demons, and it sucks to this day. Like, I don't think anyone, and it took, for me, like, music was your therapy. I drank at a very early age because of it. I think I started drinking and partying heavily at like 12, 13 when he passed, which is crazy. I never got into drugs, which I'm thankful for. Big influence because of Pam, but and also because of his addictions. But I feel like I'll never get that moment. I will never get that moment. I mean, he's here in spirit, but like, I will never get that moment to have that therapy of just be like, yo, it's okay. And you know what? I'm putting myself in your perspective, and like that must have been harder for you than it is me, and we're good. Like, let's continue our life from this point on.
Absolutely.
So like, music in that is beautiful.
I didn't actually, at the time when I did it, I actually wasn't sure if he was going to receive it, but it was just
crazy.
like a just in case type of thing. I just didn't know where what was happening.
Well, you put the live voicemail on there.
Yeah,
which
that was
is
wild.
dope.
So we had to go back and track something. We had to, basically the wire was messing up, and within that 2 weeks of the time frame of me having to go back to Caesars and record it, that's when my father left the voicemail, and that's when we put it in the song. I'm just like, I have to add another verse about destiny or whatever,
Shit happens for a reason, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, it does. It is definitely a thing for me. Like, I think I do think about being vulnerable to a certain extent. Like, how is this going to make me look? But in the end of the day, I think if we're not here to do anything else, we're all going to die. Like, might as well help other people through some stuff and show people your colors, because like really you can't control when you leave, and all we're here really to do is help the next people. So if I can be anything, like, there's definitely songs I hold back where I'm like, this is too much. Yeah. But but I try not to do that so that I can help other people with the music, because I know
is dope.
That helped me with a lot of things. Just songs I know certain people wouldn't put out. I might not even have put out as an adult, as an artist. So I'm like, if those help me through something, if I can be that for somebody else, that's a job well done here. That's how I feel.
It makes it worth it. It's more beyond than the fact that like you live off of music, which is crazy. Like we used to talk about that. Like
it's still crazy.
It don't matter about the comfortability of it. Like you don't have a job.
Yeah.
Your job is music.
Yeah.
Your job is rapping.
Yeah, that's a really crazy thing to say, especially being from like a small place.
From where we're from.
Just no one would ever even think that I was gonna be an artist, and and it's kind of crazy. Luckily, I think we're also moving in a time frame of like humility is more in. You know, with the Drakes. Like I don't know if back in the day it would have been the same.
True.
Except
timing.
Like,
timing's crucial.
Absolutely.
Even with like our relationship and linking up, everything was like timing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even to get like back on that story, because a lot of people from a few of the questions that I'm trying to touch base on here is like I told you that I had a good one that was like the transition to Cali. Why did one? Because you came out to Cali before me, so I don't know if people know this, but like we weren't talking for like a good 4 years, 5 years, off of dumb shit. Yeah. Which is like whatever. We don't have to get into that part about this on this show. But whatever. It's just friendships, especially 15-year long friendships.
Right.
Like a relationship, you're gonna go through shit in your relationships.
100%.
But for that time period, like you had done your own thing. At this point, you're in Long Beach. I'm getting out of my relationship with Chelsea, leaving Florida. I'm going to Cape. So fucking lost, really, because like here's what I thought I was gonna do, and now it's not there anymore.
Big left wing.
Like just alone, like not alone, but like I'm essentially alone in a room in Wellfleet, being like, what the fuck do I do after summer? Because there's nothing here for me, and it's like timing, bro. It's like I randomly got a message from you, and you like just hit me up on some like man shit, and like you were like, I've grown a lot, I've changed a lot, I've realized a lot of my mistakes in the past, because you did change a lot, like from Tommy like growing up to like this point is so different. From me being the friend that's been there most of the time. Agree. But like, and then I was like, wow, that's really dope, because he really came out his way to do that. And then you doing that, I see your shit and I go, bro, I'm mind blown. I can't believe this, because I didn't see it. Yeah. And then I see it, and then you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, bro, I literally have no plan. And you literally just go, come out to LA.
Yeah.
Like that's all. That's all it took. Like people are always like, why do we choose LA? I feel like, well, one, in music, two, I feel like LA is predominantly the source. But why did you choose Long Beach? Was it because like, because when you first moved here, it was Long Beach area, right? It was
Long Beach. So me moving out here blindly, I looked at like Google Maps and stuff like that, but I didn't really know where I was moving to. Somebody who had nobody out here yet. It was just Regina and I looking for an apartment out here. We didn't know anybody. We didn't know. LA felt like Long Beach. I actually thought I was moving to LA with Long Beach, and it's kind of LA because it's in Los Angeles if you're outside of the city. But I moved down there because it was cheap. I was at a fucking it was a small like little, not studio, it was a 1-bedroom, and it was $9.95, and it was in the hood. It was in Eastside Long Beach in the hood in a Crip neighborhood, but it was cool. I was dealing with it, and I just moved out there because the Cerritos Mall Verizon was transferring me in from the Verizon that I worked in.
So you had a work situation.
I had a work situation set up, and I obviously at that point wasn't making enough off music to do that full time. I was just like to do music full time. I was just like, fuck it, you know what, let's I was just like, let's transfer with Verizon and then figure it out when we get out there. And I chose LA LA, because I had a place to move to with my company, but with Verizon at the time, and B, what was the other reason? Oh, it was just I knew this is where music was, and I was like, New York's not far enough to be uncomfortable, and I was just like, I want good weather, and I was just like, fuck it, what can worst case scenario, I go back and get my job and restart, like, but I was just like, I need to grow, I need to feel a different part of the world, I need to feel the switches of culture and things like that.
Facts.
So,
And
I'm glad I did. Now I feel how necessary LA has been for my style, for my
everything,
growth, for my mental, for
everything.
like just
people
for everything.
You bump into,
everything,
people you bump into like nonchalantly,
people
and
you bump into,
right. Crazy, wild. And even for my part of the story, like essentially, I've always loved California. I never really put it in my mind like I want to move to California,
right?
Because I told you I was so wrapped in another idea of what my life was gonna be.
Absolutely.
So it became when I was single and not a part of that life anymore, and realizing kind of like how much I love music and shit, and then you presenting the opportunity and being like, yo, we can get a spot, Canoga, and just go for it.
Yeah.
That's all it really took. I don't think it takes much. I don't think there was like a game plan of being like, well, what about Atlanta? What about Texas?
Right.
I just think it's more of opportunity based. And like you said, like I had timing. Someone I worked with on Cape was coming back to Boa Steakhouse in West Hollywood and was like, I can get you a job instantly. And I go, wait, so I can move to LA, Canoga Park, which when you told me LA, I learned quickly that like Canoga Park is not LA.
Right.
But it was cheap as fuck.
But
it was
from
cheap
an
as fuck.
outside looking in, you would still call it LA.
It's still a little drive. We made it work, but bro, it's crazy to even think that I would drive from Mama to Canoga after my like 8-hour shift.
That's wild, bro. That was a wild commute you were doing. I told you when you first moved, I'm like, bro, that's gonna be a commute. You're like, I'm gonna do it.
It's wild.
That's a real drive. And LA is different, bro. It's just, the traffic,
no, it is.
Yeah, much different.
I would have to leave like an hour and a half before my shift.
To get back onto that story real quick, the reason I actually, when you moved out here, or when I was like, move out here, I actually had in mind to some extent of you managing me. I was like, yo, and I thought this, no bullshit. I was like, this is a dude who's good with people, has a degree, and can talk and connect.
But I didn't even know that. You didn't present that to me until I moved out here. People don't know that. I just moved out here. It wasn't 100%. Like, I'm moving out here to manage you.
100%.
Because like you said, you wanted to see how I reacted.
Yes.
And even so, you told me, like, you didn't believe in me at first. You're kind of like, fuck, like, I thought so, but I'm not really seeing it. It kind of took like a flip of the switch, because also I was kind of in just a time and place of like, my life just changed so quickly. And it's a lot to do that. Even like what your past with like with Regine, like it's like it just changes quickly, and it's just all of a sudden you have an idea of what life is, but like sometimes you grow and that love doesn't stay there. And even with that sake of whatever, like, it sucks that it happened, but I'm happy it happened, because like this Brandon now, like I don't think would have ever happened, and I'm so grateful for that.
I agree. I agree. Timing and it's just how shit goes, bro.
It's like sometimes it's not mapped out. It just happens.
It's nothing's actually mapped out. Now I'm seeing that.
Half the time it's not mapped out. I don't think so. But like me moving out here, and then what really took me to move out here to get back on track was just being like, kind of having nothing. I don't think if you just work a regular job, like, why not take the risk? Like you said earlier, like, we are all gonna die one day. There's one life. You've even got back on me like about maybe pursuing music again, because I used to love 100%. Rapping and shit, but it's like, for me, I just feel a mentality switch of like, I don't really think I want that. Even if so, like other people see it, like me personally, I kind of like the route I'm going in.
Even if you get into it as like a hobby, though, like even as a therapy release, I think
still
it would
love
be super good for you, you know?
I still love it. Even like this now was just dope to do and bring to life off of like I said on a previous episode for COVID. I literally appreciate COVID and the pandemic, because this would have never happened, and now I love it. And I really think eventually I'm gonna have the best podcast out. Eventually. With 100%. Timing. But it's like it just kind of like, there's no agenda to it. Like, just trust your gut sometimes. Trust the people that you know. Like you said, you kind of thought it before me. I didn't even know. And then I get out here, you kind of try to test the waters, and then saw it, and you're like, yeah, let's do this. And like now here it is. And like people even think of like sometimes like the managing shit, like they ask me like, oh, what specifically do you do? There's no specific agenda. I just help you when you need that help, and try to do as much as I can when I have the time to help bring your career to what it should be.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, it's just gonna happen. Like everyone that follows us and stuff, and it's funny because everyone says how dope it is, but they seem to not like share or repost. But I'm getting over that though. I'm getting over the saltiness of being like, you tell me in person, but because it's like I feel like I shouldn't judge people off of that. If they do tell me in person, thank you for the acknowledgement, because I don't ask for that.
Yeah.
But for a while there, I was like, it's so crazy that everyone tells me like how great this is and how dope we are, but like at the same time, like when we post something, I gotta like fight people to like and share it for us to get the acknowledgement it quote unquote deserves.
Right. Yeah. It's a weird concept, but I mean, I got used to that a while ago.
You did.
I do feel like you've been, or maybe you're coming out of that, but you've been more strung up on the fact like, why aren't they supporting? I think now you're at the level. It's just like, I understand it. People aren't gonna do that.
It's just growth.
And you shouldn't take it personal. Like honestly, not everybody is our reach. Not everybody is our fan base. But not everybody needs shares.
Even so, it's like, sometimes people really just like see it and go, oh, that's dope, and like log off, and they don't hit the share button, but they just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You can't judge someone for that.
That's true.
Like I don't go repost like a dope rap video that's not yours just because I like it and go, watch this is fire.
Right. That's
so that
true.
kind of makes sense to me, and I kind of caught that now, and it's just kind of like I said, like a growth and a mentality of it, of not being so worried about other people's shit and not getting the support, and just maybe like focusing in on like what we can do.
Yeah, I agree
essentially.
with that. I agree.
Which I think is big for anyone that decides to do this shit. They just probably like not focus on so much of the outside world.
It's not about the outside world. I feel like, honestly, you can't, looking for any type of direct result like that is just like of people giving their share and their approval. I think anybody looking for that it's going to be a sad story, just because no one wants to support you.
You're going to be bitter. I feel like Russ for a minute there was just kept doing that, and now like even now in his newer music, he's letting it go. Of being like not getting the recognition he had and being I rap, produce, engineer, and I don't get like.
Oh, he
like,
doesn't do that.
No, now he's just kind of making music, and Russ has always been dope. Like when I first moved out here, you got me into Russ.
I was
and I'm like, this is fire.
Russ,
But it was like kind of just that repetitiveness of like, bro, like you're dope, just let it go. And like I feel like now recently in his music, it's more free and more fun. He's just getting back to just making music and shit.
That's cool. I like that. I've just been such in a zone of like trying not to listen to other people outside of studying that.
Facts.
Like I haven't checked out anybody's music in like a long time. I mean, obviously I had to listen to the Drake album and Kanye album, but like in general, I just don't listen to new music really, unless I need inspiration. But.
And to get back on the story and the path of like how we got out here, like I said, from you starting where you started to your craft, like what, because some of the questions were, what were some of your biggest inspirations, right? And then like what did you really hone in on and focus on to kind of create and build the career that you've built now? Was it first perfecting like your craft and how you rap and all that, or was it the image and what you're bringing to the table? Like what were the steps per se?
I think for me it was I think it's just trial and error, and just looking constantly for ways to be more self-aware, so that like I can realize what I'm doing right or wrong, or how I can upgrade the brand. But I don't know that it went in any order. I think that everything cohesively came together at the same time, because I had to do the right mental work to get my body right. I had to do the right body work to get my confidence right. I had to do the right confidence work to get my music right.
It's crazy.
And it's just a big loop of that and staying on or falling off. And I think that's all I've really focused on, is just kind of just mentally leveling myself up and making sure I stay true to why I'm, make sure I stay true to my work ethic. That's really it for me.
There's always an opportunity to better ourselves, pretty much.
Absolutely. And I think that just striving for that and more self-awareness around everything is like all that I really care to do. Even so, like to even put it in perspective, like the weight loss you've gained and all this stuff, it's like, one, you became vegan. Two, you decided to start working out and shit. You play ball and everything, but two, you finally started to like, okay, I'm gonna run every day. I'm gonna not stay up late. I'm gonna get up early now. I'm gonna also like, you know what, I like this sort of fashion now. I'm out here, and I feel like I do love LA for the fact of like, for me personally, because Cape is such like a stigma of like, if you dress a certain way or want to do something, you stick out so much that people say shit. For me, moving to LA like really let me be comfortable and just being like even when I go home today, I get shit for how much my jeans are ripped, how much my clothes fit me, or whatever, my style. And it's like, I literally just tell them like, bro, I care about my appearance. I like fashion. There's nothing wrong with that.
you put on your fishing boots and go fish oysters the rest of your life. Because I'm enjoying my life. You enjoy your life. I don't say shit about how dirty you look.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, and honestly, LA does do that. It does free
It gave me
you.
It's freeing, bro. I feel like I've been my most self, especially now when you get to a certain age too. I feel like that's so cliche to say, but like I've finally been my most self, and I feel like you can relate to this, out here and just not caring. That, and it's like such a freeing feeling. You know what I mean?
I'm still working on it. I do think there's a level of not give a fuck that I once had that I'm trying to get back to, but with the right notion. Like there's a don't give a fuck.
The right mentality.
There's a don't give a fuck like my mom has, and that's the level of
I love her though.
She is the realest motherfucker.
It's a different I don't give a fuck.
She don't give a motherfuck anytime, anywhere. So there's a that I'm trying to combine with my newfound I give a fuck.
The right I don't give a fuck.
Right. Yeah, and I'm trying to get back to that, but I do think that there's levels to this I don't give a fuck shit, and like not actually caring what people, and I think I'm getting back to that with humility and just realizing everybody dies type shit, you know. So,
for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very freeing, and I definitely have seen your style come out. This boy, you rip pants is your thing. Yo,
I love rip pants.
You tore the fuck up, bro. I see more knee than I do jeans.
Them knees is out. I actually made an effort to make sure I didn't wear ripped jeans on this podcast.
Hey, I got the rips out today.
We switched.
Have my elephant out.
We switched. Shout out Jalen for the tats, by the way.
Jalen,
we always got to shout him out.
Jalen does his thing.
Jalen's a goat. Also go check him out. But even so, like, I feel like what you've done great in your career-wise and as a human is you kind of, I think you get in patches where maybe you're uninspired or, because you're human, but you're uninspired or not pushing yourself. But I feel like to the most point, you're always finding ways to work, to be better. And I feel like that pushes, per se, like me, Juan, people around you. Even you say, like, with my shit now, how much I've been grinding and working and doing shit, you said that's giving you inspiration.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even mean the music shit wise, just seeing it and seeing how much I'm doing and you being like, that's my boy.
Let me tackle this as the artist and like manager role outside of a friendship. That, for me, you taking on all the workload and doing everything you've done was motivation for me, because I think everyone should be in a circle of people where they're watching everybody, you know, level up and like, oh, he's working, I gotta be working. He's working, I gotta be working. So
Fact.
I think that that's super important. And so having this reciprocation of like you going OT is like, I have no, just seeing that level of work, it's just like, hey, I have no time for slacking. Not like I need that reminder often because I just don't do anything but work, but like, I'm like, yeah, seeing other people grind, I'm like, yeah, that makes me want to work more. And I think that's how a good circle should operate, you know.
Facts.
Just people motivating each other like, oh, I got to keep going, I got to keep leveling
100%.
up. So.
I don't even feel like I work 5 days a week essentially, but with the doubles and everything, and now like running the podcast and then all the stuff behind closed doors that I do handle for you or set up, it's like I really don't feel like I ever have like a freedom of like my mind being not thinking and calculating something.
That's good. I think that's a great feeling to have.
Yeah.
Some would argue, I think, that there's like a tie with that, but I think that's great. My mind's always moving.
I even think like I'm not doing enough, because in the sense of like I don't get up early, but it's like my mind and physicality is just so exhausted, bro. Like I've never been this exhausted. You shouldn't force yourself to get up early if you just go to bed hella late. That's the difference. Like I have the freedom to be able to go to bed whenever I want, and that typically means before 12 a.m. these days. So like literally I get to do that and wake up as early as I want because I choose to. I understand you're working other shit, so I'm never drained or like I'm never like, oh, he's sleeping late. It's not even a thing. I mean, not even that. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, even in my mind, I'm thinking of like, I can do it. It's just I'm choosing not. Like, I feel like there is always a level you can tap in.
Yeah.
Like, there's never enough. Even like even I feel like with people like Drake and the people out there like Kendricks and that shit, it's like when you hit that level of like success, how do you push yourself to be better? When you like, you know what I mean?
They
gotta like
propelling to be at that level though. Like I know for myself, I don't think that I would ever like. I always think of this next level is gonna feel like this, and I'll be calm then. I'll be able to travel then. Like I don't think I'll ever stop wanting to work like I'm working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
speaking of which, good segue, because one of the questions we got was where is like the cap for your, not the cap, but like where do you see your career going, and like what is it in your point in your career? Like, not about, like, stats and all that, but, like, where is it for you as a person when you're like, I'm happy, I made it? Like some people are like, I want to win a Grammy, and that's it. I don't think yours is a Grammy.
I wouldn't say a Grammy. I wouldn't say that there's any, like, I really don't know. I'm just trying to learn myself a little bit more as an artist and kind of figure out what I want as it goes. Of course, I want the next level of exposure because I feel like that will allow me to do so many other things that I want to do and move the way that I want to move. However, I don't think that there's like I don't have a cap. I want to be a big ass artist. I want to be a household name per se, but I'm not like honed in on a goal like that because I don't want to set an expectation when I know realistically I would be happy as hell with fucking like 2 million monthly listeners just caking, but I would also of course want more than that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, I don't necessarily know the cap, and I feel like I'm still learning myself, and I feel like music has always been just my segue to get into other stuff that I want to get into, you know, my financial way to get into other stuff. So I haven't really focused on like the end goal. I'm just trying to get as successful in my eyes as I can in this lane, but not really an end goal or a cap, you know?
I think that's the best way to do it because I think goals are good, but if you set too much of an expectation, when you do that and you're not reaching it, you attack yourself about it. But you're setting a very big expectation and goal. It's like when you don't have that, you can just attack what you're doing and not focus on like damn, I told myself in a year I'd have 1 million monthlies and I don't have it. Now you have something negative like to condensate yourself and all the work that you have put in. Like even now per se, like the sound of music that you put out, I feel like is top quality, good music.
I agree,
like it's not a bunch of fucking like bullshit rap. It's good sounding. There's harmonies. It's like pleasing to hear. It's nice to throw on in the whip and vibe to. There's raps in it. It's not just like mumbo jumbo.
I want to just be able to compete with the top tier artists when you put me in the car and it's gonna sound just the same, or you're gonna like it even more.
Like it just comes on a Spotify rap caviar and it's top tier with all those other people.
Absolutely.
Even so, like when you and Katori got on the editorial playlist for the first time for you was a milestone for us.
That was a big playlist. Yeah, that was cool.
Shit, I remember when we hit the first million streams on a song on Spotify, how wild we thought that was.
Hold It Down.
Hold It Down, was it?
Yeah, wow.
Crazy. And even how Hold It Down happened.
Yeah.
I just moved out here, met, shout out Jonesin, hope the bro's doing good, but I met him at a bar. randomly, and you showed me Hold It Down, and I was like, this is crazy, but the hook wasn't there. And then I meet Jones and he's kind of like, yo, I sing, and then I see him post something, I go, yo, look at this dude, he records the hook, boom, that's it, first song that hits 1 million. Crazy.
Nuts.
Me moving out here first week.
Yeah,
that's wild. And then we link him with Caesar and bringing him to Caesar's and recording it and all that shit. It's crazy.
I remember we actually had a hook, but it was Mike Wingless, the producer. Shout out Mike Wingless. And Caesar also helped. I know Mike had a hook, and it just wasn't it for me. And we were actually stuck on it for a minute. He actually didn't want to change it at first, and then he said it was cool after. And yeah, I'm excited with how it turned out. Jonesin came through, just started fucking. That was his first time at Caesar's house too.
I still play that back sometimes. Honestly, it's a banger.
Honestly, it is.
It's just enjoyable to listen to.
I have a lot of old music that I don't. I have a lot of old music that I don't like, and I can't say that that's one of them. I'll still bang that. You know, that's
definitely a banger. That's definitely a banger. And that's the thing is like, I feel like the best thing for us specifically is like when you do pop, not if, when you do. It's like the catalog is there. It's been there.
People can go there and binge.
Yeah, and even like we brought it up too, and I hate comparisons, but it's on that Russ shit where like Russ has had so much work put out. When he popped, people went back to his catalog and those songs popped years later. Years later.
It is kind of funny though. I will say SoundCloud has a regular occurrence of like it makes the stuff pop late. Like a couple of my songs from a year ago are now like getting to the 100,000 play, etc. You know.
Yeah.
So
like we get plays now that are so normal for us that we would have like geeked out on before.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like dope, man. It's just like I said earlier, it's like in this moment right now, like our setting right now, like where we came from. It's like you can get so caught up in like doing what we do to make this happen and shit, and just like taking a minute, and it's a cliche saying, but like to smell the roses and like see what we've done and how we've got here, how we've both built, like not built each other, how we've helped build each other, because we have those check-ins and shit. and like help grow as humans. Like if you care about someone, like it's like, especially when you have that team. I think one of the questions we got was what was more important, like focusing on like perfecting your music and sound, or building like the team you currently have. On my end, and you'll answer too, on my end, I don't think it's either or. I think it's just how it kind of plays out. They're both crucial. I think finding your sound is definitely, like now, like in the past, I would say 2 years, maybe a year and a half. Like you are in your bag now, more than I've ever seen.
Right, I
with
agree.
sound.
I
like
agree.
you found it. Like you got it. There's
agree.
no more question if I want to, like, you know what you can do, how to do it, and what sounds good.
Right.
In the sense of bag.
Now it's just building catalog with that.
With that. But at the same time, I guess before that per se, the circle was built in the sense of me and like Caesar at the time, Wolf in a way. Juan came out later, but it's like that happened semi at the same time. There's not really a, like, I don't think anyone needs to focus on like I need to like, no one should be out there as an artist, I need to find my Brandon.
It's not about
like,
an order. It's not
no.
about an order. I think that I will say like a team won't do shit until you find your sound to some level. So like I think finding your sound would be, I feel like it would be in the first of orders, just because your team can't do shit with some whack sounds. But
Facts.
I think that's all comes back to the equation we talked about before. Everything assembled at the right time, because I also needed the team to tell me what sound was cool. Like it's all just trusting people that you trust. It's all timing. Yeah, like if I didn't have my sound, feedback from a team or whatever a team's gonna do won't do shit. You know, so that's kind of what I would say is with it.
Or having people to lean on and be like, even like not hearing the music, but like I feel like experiences are crucial. I feel like, because like we've talked about, like there's different ways to be there and help. Like I feel like in a way, like by me and my atmosphere and how I am and where I work at and shit, it kind of helped you to realize like, oh yeah, I should go out. I should have these moments, because you were super homebody for me. Like when I first moved into Canoga, you did not step out.
No,
you didn't step out at all.
Yeah, honestly, even nowadays though, like I understand. Of course, we gotta pop out, and I didn't understand that. And I do think having you in my corner, who's plugged at all these little bars and shit out here, that definitely helped me realize the value of going out without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think that. I still am not a fan of going out unless I like sip something or it's like, you know, something with the homies. But like, yeah, I understand the importance of it. And I will say that is a huge thing that my career always lacked, is the life-work balance, and not saying unhealthily so, but I just never enjoyed the other side of things. So yeah, I would say it's a very important balance to have.
I feel like it just creates moments. It brings you experience too.
To talk about in your music, absolutely.
Exactly. And it's like you can't, you can get very stagnant trying to make up situations, but by popping out, you have something, or you see something, or you catch a vibe or an inspiration that helps you make a track you never would have made before. Even with getting in studios, like really, essentially, like you just recorded at home.
Yeah,
you know
getting
what I
in
mean?
Studios definitely has been like a recent switch that I enjoy when I'm with other people, because of the atmosphere of it, you know, the social
and even so,
aspect.
you might perfect it when you're home and in your room and in your environment, but the start of it happened in the studio.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Even all the shit we did with Duke and all that shit.
Yeah.
It was like,
and I didn't even actually, at the time we were recording the Duke stuff, I didn't even know the importance of the energy and vibes. And obviously I learned after, and I learn now more than I did at the time. But I think, it's a super important thing to be in the studio and actually feel the energy of everybody, you know?
It's and it creates like everlasting relationships too.
Absolutely.
Like forever now, like you and Duke together brought a body of work and a project.
I agree.
All him and all you. You know what I mean? And Los too. Shout out Los for being there, part of it too. But essentially it was me, you, and Los and Duke in a studio for how many? We did a bunch of sessions, bro.
He brought through hella people though.
They would pop in, but I'm saying like essentially almost every session was us four and being there and creating that relationship, you know what I mean? And now forever, if I ever see the both of them, like that's a major love. Like those are brothers for like the forever now. No matter what they go and take off in their career, whatever, like I know if I see them, it's love.
It's real love, absolutely.
And I feel like that's a big part of like LA too, in a sense. Like I don't really think I personally could build connections like that in New York or stuff. I feel like LA more attracted me to the type of people. I feel like New York kind of has that hard grittiness to it, where it's more like fast paced. And I'm such a relaxed individual that's like the same almost all the time, that like LA fits me more as a human.
Yeah,
that I can relate with people. I feel like New York, I feel like way too much energy.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's definitely a different energy. I lived out there for a little bit too.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a very
But I feel like for you that was good too, to get that energy.
I definitely
in your life.
needed to feel that energy and understand why I had to be in LA. I think it was just like I had to feel the rain to appreciate the sun and shit. Like that's literally what it was. No pun intended in New York, but I went to New York and I was just very isolated and didn't have a creative circle or anything out there. So yeah, I was just like, LA, I need to be back in LA.
But I even feel like for you, that because that was a point in your life kind of equivalent to mine, I'm getting out of my long-term relationship being like, no matter how focused you are, even with the music, like it affects you as a life. Like you and Regine split up. Our lease is about to end in Canoga.
Right.
I had now got involved with another relationship that I'm planning on moving in with. So you're like, fuck, what do I do?
Right.
So you're like, I'm gonna take an opportunity to go to New York and chill with Henry. What you didn't know where it would lead you now.
I didn't.
But it was kind of like you were put in that position and be like, yo, I'm gonna dip here. And even for me, because I was like right when we really got that like connection and relationship of like manager artist.
Yeah.
But beyond the friendship, I feel like we were really clicking at that moment with everything we were doing. And then you moved to New York, and I'm like, I don't know what. You're in New York. I don't know what to do. I'm not there.
Right.
I can't I can do shits and still help you out when you hit me and be like, hey, can you handle this?
I feel like at that time you weren't as much of a manager though.
Yeah.
It was very low key.
But I feel like it was starting. You know what I mean? So like for me, I was like, fuck.
I agree with that.
We're just starting to get it, and like now you're going to New York.
Yeah.
I'm not in New York. I feel like my biggest thing is being there in the room with the people and being like, yeah, this is what we're doing, and people like fucking with it.
Right.
So it's like, shit. It was like, for me at that moment, I was like, damn. But at the same time, it was good. Shout out Juan.
Oh, thank you, Juanitos. Free throws. I appreciate you. Damn, he came
Shout
through
out
like
Juan.
a real server. He
did.
said,
No, yeah, fuck it. Shout out Juan.
Juanitos.
See,
free throws.
the team does whatever the team needs to do to help each other out.
Facts.
That's it.
He's BTS all the time. Now he's bartender.
Exactly. That's all we need. Whatever we need at that moment. But yeah, for me, and in that sense, at that moment, it was like, fuck, I don't know what I can do. There were still tasks I was handling per se, but it was like, you're in New York, I'm in LA. Like, I can't. I don't know anyone in New York. Like, and that's such a different atmosphere. Like, connections are big. Even so, still, I feel like typically what artists look for in managers, like when they're thinking of like, I want a manager, but he needs to do this, they want the manager to be like, I know so-and-so at the radio that can get your song on, or I know so-and-so at the label, the A&R that'll play your shit in the room. Like, they're looking for the manager that kind of has that like plug in to get them like popping, right? Which is like, that's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah. I am realizing that is like a very managerial thing to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think that should be limited to. Like, let me just say, as you as a manager, I think one of your great things that you've done as on a manager side is get me indoors and get me in venues and teach me where to go in LA, because you could go out, like that whole thing, plugging me with people, like that's also managerial shit. And I think you do that stuff extremely well. Though you don't have the industry connections, I mean, that I feel like my side, I've handled the industry side, so I think that we're doing the best we can with whoever, and
with what we're given and knowing our capabilities per se.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If I beat myself up, I haven't gotten like what. That's not gonna do any good. But I can look at the good. Like you're right, and it is dope now that I think about it. Like the study, you've performed at the study and the Viper Room, and
I will say people shouldn't rush to do shows just to have them under their belt, though.
No, but that's something we grew into learn, though.
Viper Room is fucking fire.
Yeah, Viper Room was fire. But the most fire show was wow, why am I blanking right now?
What one?
Not the
Peppermint Club.
Peppermint Club.
Yeah, that shit was dope.
Damn, why was I blanking? I think that was our best show.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
It was definitely the best delivery. It's also the latest, though. I was sonically more ahead at that time than any of my other shows. And
sonically, we had a band, which was dope. We had, shout out John.
Yeah, that was fire.
He came and did some live vocals for us. I feel like we were more of those videos. We were more tapping into like musical shit, which I think now like you get to on how important it is to not just like play a track in the background and rap over it. like that musicality and shit, and people seeing that makes the experience so much more better.
It's definitely a far superior experience with a live band.
Facts.
You know, I feel
And
like my career has always
that.
lacked that, though, because it's just so much more to bring out a whole band to do everything. Like, you just have to coordinate schedules. There's just a lot more, and I've never been that good at coordinating with a bunch of other people. You know, but that's why I 100% agree. It's just always felt hard for me.
And
actually,
even
Matt's
so
been talking to me about that since I was like fucking like
Matt
18.
always knows too.
Yeah, he does.
Shit, we even have that footage of we did with everything with Matt and his friends. That's like
what
floating around when we did that live session.
Oh, the live band shit. Yeah, those are fire. Those actually came out really good.
I know.
Yeah.
The people need that eventually. At some
Yeah,
point
it's
in their
honestly just I have to go back and do some some fucking fixing of audio, and it's just been fucking.
No, it's a lot. There's steps.
Yeah.
100%. And even like what you just said, it's like
year worth of steps. It's a year plus.
But bro, life move. I think too about LA is it's not a fast-paced city, but life moves so fast out here. Like, I've personally been out here for about 5 years, 6 years now. That means you've been out here 7, 8 years now.
Yeah, like 8. Yeah.
That's
Long
crazy.
time, yeah.
That's crazy. I moved out here as a 22-year-old kid. I'm about to be 29. Like,
yeah.
Like LA essentially has been my longest tenured home as an adult.
Yeah, same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's wild, bro.
It is wild. It is wild to think about. I still think about that regularly. Like, wow, this feels kind of like as crazy as it is as home, just because nothing back home where I'm from is the same anymore anyways. It's just
Yeah. It's like the same, but not the same, I feel like, when I go back home.
Yeah.
But it's like why I go back home, because I know of like what I can expect. So it's very like, it's like a breath of fresh air, really.
Yeah.
Because I feel like going back home for me, resets me.
Yeah.
It makes me realize how much I have done and how much I've came from. And you can easily get on yourself and say you're not doing enough. But when I go back home, I'm like, man, it's big shit for the shit we're doing, bro.
I agree.
Like, anytime I run into people, like, man, like, yo, it's crazy what you and Ro are doing. Like, I can't believe it. You know what I mean? It's big love and shit. And it's like, that's cool that even people acknowledge that instead of a share or a like. Like, that's cool. Like, people on Cape know, bro. Like, they know.
100%.
Like,
when I go back, it's like super love. Like, they hook me up with free burritos at Chipotle and shit.
Damn.
Like, yeah, it's cool. It's a plug. I had to plug that one because someone hooks me up every time I go back, and I can't remember the name.
And speaking of milestones and this shit, like, and it's like, because I just want to touch base on, like, experiences we've had together and shit, because I feel like that's what a lot of people were asking when we asked the questions they had. But, like, I feel like one of the biggest things for me, two of them, actually, I'll give the top three through, like, what we've done so far. I would say one of them was, like, the first 1 million streams. It was just super dope to see that. Probably number 2 was the Gary V putting your Born Hustler in his bio.
Yeah, that was cool.
Which was just like, wow.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, one of your biggest inspirations, you making me learn who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing that happen was, like, crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. Matt put me on to him years before that even, too. I listened to his audio book.
Even Ben, shout out Ben, my brother, I love him. Like, he was super into Gary V.
Oh,
and, like,
really? I didn't even know Ben was into him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because, like, when he came with me to drive out here, and he was like, yeah, this is who Rose always listened to and posting about. And being like who he's influenced by.
Wow, that's cool that Ben knew him. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no. Fire. And then I would say third, though, which is crazy because you just celebrated recently, it was like you quitting your day job.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't even know what that feels like.
Yeah. No, to be honest with you, I mean, that's 4 years ago. That wasn't recent, but
4 years ago is time, bro.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
4 years.
Yeah,
like,
4 years ago. It's a good feeling, but yeah, it's a good feeling. Those are 3 big milestones.
Like, I'm saying, like, for us, like, I remember the day at Canoga and you being like, I'm walking into my last shift at T-Mobile.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah,
like,
that was wild.
That's a crazy thing.
It was a wild thing. I felt like it was I felt like it was so built up and I was so ready just because I had put so much time in before that I was just ready to leave finally, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was ready to leave, but it was a huge milestone. I think about it now and it was bigger than I ever thought about.
When you repost about it, I'm like, wow.
4 years.
That's wild. 4 years ago. And even all the shit that's happened in between that to the moment, to the very moment we're at now, and all the shit like you've personally been through that I've gone through, how life hits us differently. Like, now I feel like everything in a way, and it's so weird. But like last year, even the fact that we've now been living in the crib together for a year already.
Yeah, that's a fucking crazy.
But like I feel like life finally pushed us to this moment to be like, this is when you get it. Like this is where it happens. Because like I feel like since moving in the crib together, it just brought that relationship back and that grind work back because we see each other. And it's not like a lot of people think like we wake up and chill every day. I probably chill with you the least out of a lot of my closest people.
I don't think anyone sees me for more than like...
No, it's it's very simple.
It's not a you thing either.
Yeah,
it's
and it's not a you thing either. There's just two separate... We're both attacking something together, and there's that trust and relationship and 100%. Love, but we have different agendas in the sense of
different
each day,
schedules,
different schedules, everything.
Yeah.
It's like people think that like me and you wake up every day and just be like, yeah, you like come sit in the room with me.
People religiously be like, you and Juan and Brandon are together all the time. They
like,
think that
no,
I
swear
to God, I just be in my room like cooking up. He be out working. He be at a fucking everything. Like we really I agree. It is a crazy concept because
a lot of people do assume that, and I think that's like I get in a way why they would assume that, but at the same time, it's like I think it's a good thing that we all do such different shit.
I agree.
And even so, I think it was dope how when we first moved in, the second pandemic happened, and we did get that opportunity to all like be together every day, drink, listen to music, party, invite people through. It like created a bond and a relationship that we all haven't experienced together. Like there was a solid 2-month period where J-Mo was out every day, and from about maybe noon to night, like we were all sipping, just chilling together.
I can't actually say that was my time frame at any point sipping Jameson. I swear to God, I can't ever say from 12 to
not 12. I'm saying one of us.
I don't think until recently I did. Yeah, one of us started at 9 a.m.
One of us. We won't say names who started. But one of us maybe started it.
No,
and got
but
the others going.
let me make it very
night
clear.
Specifically.
Okay. After 8 p.m. for me, I couldn't do it before then at any point. Like after you said at 12 to 8. Look, I be working. Okay, that's
but even so, for 2-3 months, we were just in the crib every day.
Chilling,
every day.
Yeah, that's true.
Like even so, like
that's funny.
So, like, are you comfortable with me talking about like the drugs?
Which one?
Acid.
Oh, actually, all my drugs are okay.
Even so, like the first, I remember, like it was the first night. I think we'd moved in together. It took about fucking almost a month, 3 weeks or something for the first night for all three of us to have a night off and chill together. Shout out Tori. Tori came through and chilled, and we were like kind of celebrating it, being like we haven't had a moment to like be like, yo,
absolutely,
we did this. Word. And then you kind of hit me like, yo, I think you should just try it because like all the shit that happened. Acid? Yeah. And even so, like I feel like taking that opened such a door for me. I
literally watched you change a whole mental state. When
it was crazy.
And just like then you were like super refreshed. It just felt like the high school Brandon. It was a very weird.
It was nuts.
Shift.
Yeah. It was nuts.
Yeah,
and I still feel it to this day. Really, like not like the drug still in me, but I felt the mentality switch.
Yeah, the perspective.
I definitely get focused and just like in my moods and shit, but that's just because of like. I'd be grumpy,
right?
Like when I'm working and shit. Like I'm just in a sense of like I know what me and you and Juan are all doing, and I'm just ready for that moment when it happens.
Facts.
So like really the biggest thing for recently is patience for me.
Yeah.
Because like I'm actually not the most patient motherfucker. I am patient, but I'm not with certain situations. So like for me, patience has been the biggest virtue of just like. God, I know what we're doing and what the quality is and how we are all attacking and working and grinding. It's just like. It's gonna happen, but I want it to happen now. You know what I mean?
Hey, the patience is it though. You know, I do feel like this is the first year where I really fell in love with the coming up of it. You know, even if that means like I haven't reached a milestone that I've wanted to on one perspective, I'm really understanding the joy of the grind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
100%. You have to. Like I said, sometimes you gotta stop.
Hear them Hollywood beautiful sounds. Those are Hollywood sounds.
If you don't hear sirens in Hollywood, fuck, the world's about to end.
No, you're not in Hollywood.
You're not in Hollywood, actually.
If you don't hear sirens in Hollywood, you're not in Hollywood. You're in Studio City or something.
You know, it's a funny story too, and we'll get back to it. But it just reminded me of like when I remember when I first moved out here, and like you just started drinking, going out with me.
Yeah.
and we went to Bar Lubish.
The Bar Lubish.
And we got lit as fuck, and someone like hit me and was like, "Yo, y'all are dope. Come to this after hour spot." And
I still remember that.
They played us.
I still remember
this dude played us. This dude played us and gave us a fake address to fucking Skid Row.
That shit was grimy.
And me and Ro
Brandon
pulled
got
up.
done dirty.
We just pulled up, and he's like, "Dog, there's no way this is here. It's Skid Row." My dumb ass, I don't know where we are, so I'm just seeing like, mad homeless everywhere. Really crazy.
It's like a zombie apocalypse.
Oh, it's nuts. I haven't been down there since. I was like, yeah, I'm good with ever going back to Skid Row ever again in my life. You were like, yeah, bro, just pull off. Like, let's go. Like, don't even try.
We're not doing shit. Don't.
It's crazy. But you remember that?
I remember it like it was yesterday. I thought it was going a different way because I remember after Bar Lubitsch a different time, and we found an after-hour spot. But
shout out Bar Lubitsch, too. That was our stomping grounds for a minute.
Yeah. I thought we were going somewhere else with the story. That was all. I thought there was another time we went to that after-hour spot, and that was a whole wild thing.
That was another after-hour spot.
I thought you were going that way. I was like, oh,
no, that was another after spot.
Like,
yeah, no, that's not important. I just thought it was funny how some dude gave us a fake address.
That was funny. That's some LA
like
shit.
To play us. Yeah, I was like, good. Wow, people really do that shit out here.
His energy was finicky, though. I kind of felt it. I was kind of like,
you know me, I was like buzzed. Being like, yo, word bet, bro. Yeah, we'll pull up.
Yeah, I remember.
And then you were like, I knew it, bro. He was weird. I'm like, fuck, I didn't even know.
Yeah, that was fucked. That was cool though. Good little like Hollywood experience.
Even to like, cause one of the other questions I got, cause I want to touch base on all the questions that we received.
You've been doing a good job tapping into these questions.
I told you, I stored them in.
Got them, bro.
Stored them in.
Have you been looking at them or what?
I looked at 2, but I've been remembering them most of the time.
All right.
But and this is from my little cousin, so I want to do touch base. I told you on it that I want to make sure that we touch base on it, but I feel like cause our last conversation that we were just into, but she was saying. What she wanted to know is like how do you come over and how did we come over the fear of failure, of chasing our dream, and not because me and you didn't really have the story of like I'm an accountant and I'm gonna quit my job and go for it.
Right.
But we did overcome the fear of moving out here, it not working out, and just doing it and seeing where it goes, right? And living our dream essentially. For you, how would you answer that question?
I would say that.
How did you overcome it?
I don't. I think my thing was just like, I don't know. I think the perspective for me has always been very clear in the sense that it's like, what's the worst that can happen? Like this life that you're probably living, most people, it is always able to go back to. And if it's not, it's not. You're not living that great of a life prior where it's like that's the worst thing to lose. Like I just think. You should be uncomfortable. You should be chasing things. That's all. I think, yeah, honestly, I've never chased the comfortable route. I was just like, what do I have to lose? Like, why not do this? Fact. People are just banking on my loss anyways. If I go out there and lose, at least it's cool. I get a little bit of life experience and lose, you know. I don't even know what losing would have looked like, but you know what I mean. So I would say I never really had to overcome a fear. I think most of I felt like, honestly, it was also light work. Should I move to LA compared to like shit that I'm used to worried about?
Yeah.
Like I was worried about.
It was kind of like a duh.
It was like why not? Like there was nothing for me. I'm bad at answering that question and have got it a bunch of times, but I just think I didn't really have that like what if factor. I was like, what's the worst that can happen?
It's a hard question because it's not like a thing that switches in your mind. I think it's just you as a person or me as a person. Like for me to answer it, because I did go to school and get an accounting degree, right? But I literally, when I was in that moment of like being back on Cape and going everything I went through, being like, I don't want to be an accountant. I love this shit. I have knowledge about this shit. I've always wanted to be involved in music some way. Like it's just a click situation of like, I can go try this, and if it doesn't work out, that's not failure to me. Failure is not attacking the thing in your head that says, why didn't I ever try that?
Yeah.
That's failure to me.
Yeah.
The person that makes $200K a year that wakes up every day being like, man, I kind of wish I played piano and I attacked that. They're failing in life. Us, that's not failure. I don't even care if I moved out here and we were broke as shit. Luckily, it worked out differently. But if I moved out here and I was broke as shit and we're attacking something, that's more success than failure to me than having money.
There's no I
waking
think that's
up every day being happy.
There's not failure.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a failure. It's like just I think it's a lot of mental work of just realizing what makes you happy and where you want to go, and that I think the rest kind of follows that, because happiness could be here living broke as hell, or it could be, you know. So yeah, overcoming, I never really had that.
Exactly. And even me, and so too, I feel like I've always had that like mentality of just being like a kind of go-getter of like, why not? You know what I mean? And some people have it differently. Some people think about it too much and do have the fear. So I think my answer to that for her and anyone that has that question is to try your best not to do that and just do it. Fucking Nike.
Yeah, right.
Just do it. Like,
honestly, you have nothing to lose. That's
just fucking do it. Like, you really don't. You're not gonna like. The only thing you lose over it is like maybe stress of like moving and having to move back. Other than that,
but that stress is what's gonna build a better character for the long run.
Exactly. I'm saying even if you moved here, so many people move to LA to be actors and shit and don't get placed, but they're so happy. And sure, they end up a bartender or whatever, but like they tried. They did it. Like, at least you know how it went instead of the what ifs or how would it have gone.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's bigger than anything. That's bigger than anything. So I would say that's how you overcome it, is just to do it. You're like, if you sit there and dwell on it, like still go to school, still better yourself. Like, school's not for everyone. I don't knock people that go to school. I don't knock people that fucking decide not to go to school. Yeah. It's whatever you want to do. I went to school, I have debt, and I'm doing something completely different that school did for me. But I love my experience of college, especially being from Wellfleet.
Yeah.
That felt amazing to me to get out and have a regular lifestyle.
Whole different.
You know what I mean?
Whole
like,
different
college doesn't mean you do it and that's your fucking plan. You have to do that the rest of your life. No, go to college for whatever.
Yeah,
I truthfully like decided to be an accountant junior year. I really just wanted to go to college to get out of Wellfleet, to party, to like not be in a small little town and see different people, to be in a diverse situation. Like, I didn't like the situation of where I was in Wellfleet of seeing the same type of people every day. Like, I wanted that. I wanted the influence.
That makes sense.
You know? So it's like, for me, college wasn't I'm gonna go here and get educated. Of course, going later down, I did focus and hone in on school, and I did well, but that hasn't really done anything for me other than give me life memories and experiences and brotherhoods from my roommates that I love forever now. But like, other than that, it played a role, but it wasn't like what I essentially expected to get from it.
Absolutely. You never know what you're gonna get from experiences going into, so yeah, go for everything.
Just go for it, really. Like, you can't like dwell on situations that aren't there yet. It's like false reality.
Yeah.
It's only reality until you make it reality. So you can't sit there and dwell of like, this is my dream, but I'm scared to do it. If you're dwelling on a false reality, go get the reality.
Yeah.
Typically, I mean, I guess in a nutshell, that's what we did do, in a way.
Yeah.
So it's just gotta go for it. Knock all the naysayers out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, best advice is don't take advice. I think Jay-Z said that. But
like,
honestly, it's very good advice. I've been given advice by 1,000 people who were scared of the places that I'm now at. So they kind of talked down upon this type of thing. So yeah, just go for it.
Yeah. That's all it really is. People think it's so complicated sometimes, but it's very simple. It really is. But so even if like, cause to touch base back on us, cause like we're going the independent route, right? And I feel like that's the route to go for sure. Owning everything. There's publishing deals and shit we could sign. We've tried it. Doesn't work out. I feel like a lot of shit they present is false realities.
Absolutely.
I think one thing we are good at is sniffing that out very quickly and being like, no, we're losing at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you, cause this is one of the questions too, and I've always wanted it too, if you had a label to sign to, who do you think you would sign to? Specifically, the question that we got was OVO or TDE. I have my answer, who I think you'd fit better with. But even if so, like, any labels, because maybe you had a label in mind that's not them too. If they did present you a deal that was worthy, like, who did you always see yourself signing with, and maybe still see yourself signing with?
I would say like a large portion of my career, like the early career, I think it was because of the type of music I was making and everything was Dreamville. It was always like I could see myself on Dreamville or TDE. Those were my two like go-tos. And I mean, of course, like I've just become more melodic and such a fan of the whole OVO movement. Of course, like now that would be my thing, but I'd rather stay independent. But if it were to pick something, I think just like there might even be different like large differences in how big the labels are and
Yeah.
things like that. So at this point, so I think right now, if I were to sign, OVO would be a choice, but that's
Yeah.
just because it's like melodic. Everything that I want to do, they have everybody for that, you know.
If
like,
you signed to OVO, I think you present a sound that they don't have on that label.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Drake,
Yeah, Drake, what's
sign
up,
us.
bro? Come on, I'm sitting. No,
it's a package deal.
no, yo, but no, I would say.
I don't think TDE at all. I feel like they kind of honed in on a specific
Yeah,
situation.
I agree.
I feel like
don't-
OVO is more diverse.
Well, I just feel like TD. Actually, I don't know. They have some fire singing shit now. But I was just saying, in general, I think they are more for like underground, like
Yeah.
rap. Like
I feel like you
know.
fit better on OVO, but specifically more than both of them, Dreamville.
Yeah,
I've always thought that.
yeah.
I've always
that
thought
was
that.
always my like. I feel like that was always my go-to early on. That's
Yeah.
what I was always seeing myself. You know.
And that leads into like inspiration and who you listen to the most. It's definitely J. Cole, right? I've thought about that. Like
who I
Drake,
listen to the most.
but I feel like now it's Drake. Like Drake's essentially, you're a big fan of Drake, like I am.
Yeah.
But like I feel like your early rap and how you were rapping.
I used to be into hip hop.
Yeah.
And that's why J. Cole and Kendrick were always my two big.
But
as
is
cliche
is
as it
Cole
was.
your biggest? Would you say
Nah,
inspiration? Drake.
Yeah, I would say Drake now. Actually, I can't even say Drake now, but he's the person that I look to be. He's the person that's like, if you want to be the best, that's who you're shooting after, you know?
Yeah.
That's who you're trying to do. But yeah, I mean, I think that's who you're trying to outdo, excuse me.
Would that be your top collaborator, Drake?
Yeah, but I think the question was like, except for Drake.
But what is
But
he
if
your
it,
top?
yeah, it would be
If
my
it
top.
wasn't Drake, who is it? Cole? Or singing? Think about. I feel like you and Snow.
Honestly,
I feel like you and Snow.
No,
would make a
honestly,
fire track.
I like a lot of girl like I
girl
would
singers.
love-
You're
yeah.
heavy. I appreciate that about you is when you tell me this shit. Like you got me into Snow Allegra.
I'm big into
and that
Snow
sort of shit.
Allegra,
Yeah.
Summer Walker. I really love
Yeah,
Summer Walker.
I feel like you would actually
Kehlani.
benefit more from those collabs.
I would
than a Drake
honestly
collab.
like to do those. I would
'Cause I feel like
to
you
do-
have
not
that-
more than a Drake. A
But
Drake is like the ultimate.
But I'm
co-sign.
saying it's too much kind of like this, not the same.
Yeah.
But like you having your smooth raps and your tone with a
I agree with
fire
that. I
female
agree with that.
vocal would be a more beneficial track and sound
agree.
than you and Drake kind of
More
sounding
well-rounded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well-rounded.
I agree. Yeah, it would be a lot more well-rounded with a girl. But yeah, honestly, Black too. I'm a huge fan of
Yeah,
Black.
that
I
shit would
love
be
to work-
crazy.
Oh, Black's the shit, man.
That would be Blast too.
Blast, crazy.
Blast would be
yeah,
nuts.
Boogie. Not. I was talking about regular Boogie, West Side Boogie, but A Boogie would be hard too.
All of them, really. I just look
Yeah.
forward to the day we do it. Like that'll be dope.
Yeah, I can't wait to do some like real collaborations and shit. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like when it does happen too, it'll just be another moment of like I remember even some of the people we've met with now. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
thought about those moments and then we did them and shit like that. So it's just like dope to see the collabs, the producers you've worked with, the artists you've worked with,
Absolutely.
and that was like we talked about earlier, a big switch in your career because to that point you really didn't do that, and like to now attack that, I
Now
feel like
I'm-
kind of open
yeah.
up the horizon to be like, and then those people who listen to those people saw you and be like, wow, he's fire.
And
Who
you know,
is
on
that?
top of that, and I will say this for like other artists listening, I feel like this is a huge thing for me is when you're just in the room with someone with a brand new, like given, as an artist, everybody feels like they have their little pocket. Me and Jade were just talking about this. We were like,
Shout out, Jade.
Jade Inc. Shout out to Jade Inc. Fucking talented, dope individual. We were just talking about this where it's like, everybody has their own little like cadence, this little pocket, this little zone that they like to stay in. When it's two people in a room, it's a brand new energy, and it's two people throwing their own little pocket at each other to
Bringing
see what
stuff
comes
out of you.
And
Yeah.
that's why I've been doing so much collaboration and working with new people. When you're writing a song for a feature or something that someone already has written to, you're super inspired to just write off that subject, and it's super easy to kill it. When you have your own original song, you can write about anything in the world and it's hard to go at it, you know?
Fact.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm just like, so for features and working with people, it's just a good way to, I think, elevate the creation and take it somewhere new, you know?
Yeah,
So
I
that's what
agree
it's
with that
all been.
100%. I think that was like big in why I wanted to do that and get involved, because it's just like that process. And sometimes a song might not come from it. Sometimes nothing at all might come from it. But
I always set those
the
expectations for the studio too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need shit to come out of this because like I'm here for the energy. Like let's energy exchange. Let's see what the fuck comes out, and we don't have to force anything. I don't expect anything. Nothing, you know. So yeah, I think that's a cool way to go into music, and definitely it feels refreshing to go into it.
Yeah, and I think that's important for artists to know, especially that do tune into this and listen. Like that's big. I'm dropping the facts and the knowledge and kind of not like guidelines or like advice, but just like experience. I feel like experience is crucial in anything. It's like, I agree. I've experienced this, so I'm just going to give you my take on what I've gone through. And also, because I'm thinking about a couple of things that I did want to touch base, because I knew I wanted to focus on like the specific of our relationship, but also get back to some of the shit we talk about on All Bass. So I'm going to get into it before we close out here. But like that. What are your thoughts? I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Boston and Massachusetts rap and like the support we try to get, one, the support that some artists gets, right? But like, what are your thoughts on it? Do you see it coming up now? I feel like
I do think right now it's about to hit a pretty good wave, and I think right now it's at a good place. But I also feel with that addition, being here 8 years, I don't know how much I'm looked at as a Boston artist.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, being from Cape, we'll never be represented as Boston artists.
Massachusetts,
but Massachusetts, I think that Massachusetts has a great scene, but it's hard to represent a whole state as to people are repping their cities.
Yeah.
So like if we were to consider Massachusetts, we got Joyner, we got Millions, we got this, we got Bia, we got like a lot of people. But if you got Boston, it very much goes down to like a smaller music scene and the support lacking, I would say.
But even so, because I've recently tapped into Millies and see how he talks about it, and he says he hates saying that he's a Boston rapper because he's from Cambridge, which is very close to Boston. Like he's more of a Boston.
As Capers, we consider Cambridge Boston damn near.
But I'm saying like for him, and I liked watching the interviews he's done recently, is he doesn't want to be fit into the stigma of that. It's like he is actually representing a whole state because Massachusetts isn't California.
Yeah.
There's not a San Francisco. There's not an Oakland. There's not sounds coming from all over.
Yeah.
Massachusetts, in a way, is only represented by one major city, and it is Boston. Like, Joyner's from Worcester. Nothing's going on in Worcester. Like, it's there's one city in all of Massachusetts that's known and represented. If I say Massachusetts, people look at me cross-eyed until I say Boston.
Yeah.
Like, I could be like Springfield. They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of tough cities and shit.
I agree.
But I feel like music scene for Massachusetts recently in years, I feel like is doing.
There's a lot
coming on the
it's
scene.
finally
Like
coming
it
on
has
the
a
scene.
sound
like,
now.
Look at Bia and Joyner alone. That's
Bia,
a huge
Stiz,
wave. Cousin Stiz,
Joyner, Millies.
It's just like there's a big scene right now.
And it even goes back into like terminology.
Yeah.
Slain. Yeah.
Edo G.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old Boston. Like a lot of. It sounds disrespectful saying old. I just meant like a lot of people.
Like it's been going on. It has had names that are like super respected.
But it's just so we're also spread out. No one's really represented Boston as a city. It's been Massachusetts. He's from Terms from Lawtown. Like everyone's just all over. So I think it's hard to disconnect between Massachusetts and saying Boston, especially when people are like, you ain't from Boston if you even say it quick. And
I think that's why it's a little upsetting to me, is that like realizing that Massachusetts is Massachusetts, so it's like, why come at me if I'm labeled a Boston rapper or whatever? Like, there shouldn't be a reason of like, bro, I'm not saying I went through what you through, a claim and a set or none of this. Like, bro, this is just like technically the only city that we represent.
That's it. Yeah,
that's all it is. Like, fuck, I got it tatted on me. Like, it's not me saying I'm from there. Like, one, it's a Red Sox symbol, and I grew up a huge baseball fan.
You're the realest Boston
like, I remember when the Sox won in 04. Like, there's no level
real
of...
quick, anytime I get into a sports argument, I'll literally just start an argument with someone random and be like, Brandon, get this motherfucker. And just tap him in to talk shit to
That's a fact.
Boston
team.
Yeah,
and then I just come in with the fucking quickness. But I feel like that is upsetting to me for Massachusetts artists, is that it's more of like a, man, you ain't from there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, but we are all from there. Like,
it's very much so that it's almost a disrespect to Boston people when anyone says Boston, even though you're not meaning Boston.
And I get that. But like, I got people that stay out there. I've been there. Like, I've been with my people. I've been to Blue Hills Ave. I've seen the culture. Like, I know it. I'm not throwing any inspiration that I'm from there and part of that.
Right.
I'm just saying it's the only city that represents
Right.
Massachusetts.
Right.
It's like more of like a. That's the only thing I don't like about Massachusetts rap. Is
It
like
is that. It
being
is
like
that.
a set you claim thing. Like, nah, you ain't from there. Oh, what part? Oh, Quincy. Nah, not even. Like, I'm from Dorchester. It's like more of like, bro, why can't we all just love the fact that Massachusetts artists are doing their thing?
I know,
and there
it's
is a
not
sound
that.
being
Yeah.
built.
Yeah.
You know, and shout out
hopefully
Mikey Glasshouse. He's doing his thing too.
Oh yeah, Mikey's back in Boston.
Yeah,
He was
he's
out
back
here for
out
a
there.
minute.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. There's just like, I feel like a lot of dope sounds. Mike Hector producing like that are representing Massachusetts finally. That's like hasn't been happening
we
for
have
years.
a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of
For
there's a lot of
years.
sounds coming out of there right now. It's good.
And I just can't wait for the fact of, because like Massachusetts has never had a predominantly thing like New York, Atlanta, Houston.
I don't
Los
know. You
Angeles.
think we'll ever have that?
I don't
though?
think so.
Not that.
I don't think so.
Nah, we're not gonna.
I don't think we have a predominant sound, but I
Yeah.
think Mass does take a melting pot
I agree with that.
of those sounds and kind of combines it into their own.
I agree with that.
But the next thing I want to touch base on to kind of get back on our like regular shit on the podcast is for the two most talked about albums that are obviously dropped, and me and you have talked about it, but
Yep.
getting our thoughts and ganders on Donda and CLB, like what were expectations met for you or were they missed? Because I got my answers.
This is gonna sound like a bad hip hop fan answer, especially on All Bass No Treble. But like I said earlier, I gave my little prereqs talk. I haven't been listening to anybody but myself.
Yeah.
I've really just been
Which
on
is
my
fine.
own. But I have made it through the Drake album probably 3 times now, and I made it through Donda once. And I will say, I have to listen to Donda again before I give you a real answer on that.
True.
But
That's good.
I will say Drake's album was great for me. I think that the hits that hit were fucking hitters, and I think he missed a few for me, and that's I feel like he missed like probably 6 for me.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing for me because I'm a huge diehard Drake fan.
Yeah,
so,
like you want every track to be
I wanted
crazy.
every track to be crazy.
Yeah.
But I think Donda right now, there was nothing I wanted to play back, which sounds kind of crazy to a lot of people.
Okay.
But I listened to it one time through so far, and there was nothing I was like, oh, I got to hear that again.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? The intro, because I was like, this didn't just happen. He just
Donda?
said this for a minute straight.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Well, there's
I
like a
understand.
reason
No,
behind it.
No,
Yeah,
I get it. I was just playing a hard time, but yeah, there was nothing that I wanted to play back through original. But don't quote me on this and make me look like a bad guy because I only have heard it one time. So
Yeah, no, I just want to see what you thought because
I was
we've
actually
like
talking
briefly
to
talked
them
about.
because people are gonna be like, "What's up?
Yeah, but I still had to touch base because I see so much banter about it, and there's one thing.
What's your answer?"
I'm gonna get into the answer, but when artists, and you know this, and at least me being a part of it, I realize it. When artists create something, they're not worried about you. They're not worried about.
I wish that
sounding-
I wasn't as worried.
But even when I'm saying like, they're not worried about sounding a way they used to or bringing you the next.
agree.
They just want to bring something to life, and it's like people are so quick to do.
Wow, well put.
4 or 5 tracks in and be like, I don't like how this is sounding. It's not what I expected. They don't
Good
care what you
perspective.
expected. Appreciate the art. Appreciate the music that they are bringing back to you. I was telling someone the other day, I'm like, everyone's comparing, but not realizing that this has been one of the best years in music in a while. We got a J. Cole, a Drake, a Kanye, a Kendrick on the way. Tyler's album was fire. Like, we got a lot of great
We
music
did have a
this
good year
year.
this year.
And it's like everyone's so quick to like judge or say what they think when it's more of like, yo, just put your expectations to the side and then listen, and I feel like you hear the album.
That's a very cool perspective. I feel like people should hear that.
I never
before they
go into an
it.
album being like, I hope it sounds like this. I'm just ready to listen to the album. And I'm excited to
See,
hear
that's
new
pure.
sounds.
I unfortunately, as motherfucking Drake fan to people,
Yeah.
I received 8 texts before I got to hear it. Like, what do you think about this? Fuck this song.
And
This
then
was
they already
trash.
put
This
a
was good."
mentality in-
And
yeah.
for me, I didn't get to listen to it with a pure heart because I got 6 texts about how it let down their expectations. So I would say I would, but given that being the case, I love the album still. I was still like, hey, this shit slaps.
Yeah.
So.
And then I guess I should get into my answer on what I think about both. I love both of them. That's the thing. Like, I'm Kanye, and I wish that they didn't beef. They're 2 of my favorite artists
Literally
ever.
your 2 favorite.
Literally, like,
yeah.
2 of my favorite artists ever. But I love Kanye's album. I love Drake's album. The reasons why I love them, and I'll give my better take on each, what I think the better album is between the 2. But I love Donda for Kanye, I feel like, really got back to Kanye in a way. There's songs on there, like, yes, it's religious driven, and there's a lot of Jesus talk, but like, just listen to the music and the production. Like, he got back on his bag and his album shit.
Yeah.
For me, the only skip was the intro. I love every song. I love what he's rapping about. I love the production on every track. I feel like he was very vulnerable and not so much the Kanye he's presented in the past years.
Wow.
And more of like he raps a lot about his shit with Kim and going through that, and then his transitions. Like, there's no curses on the album, which is cool to me that he, from what he's done and where he is. I just think it's dope, and there's just very enjoyable sounds on there, man. Like, Kanye will never miss on production. Like, the production on this shit, like the drop on Heaven and Hell is crazy. Jail with Jay-Z is crazy. Come to Life is a very emotional. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album. Come to Life is very emotional and deep and like beautiful sounding. Like,
did
Jesus
you hear the song
walks
"Stay
past.
On Him"?
Stay
It
on.
was on the leak,
Oh,
and
no,
it didn't come out.
Oh, it's the one you showed me.
I love it,
Yeah.
and it didn't come out. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that would have been my
Well, it's
favorite
like
on
how we
Donda.
felt with Vitals.
That would have been my favorite on there
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even so, like, I love it. I love Donna. I love his sound. I like Kanye got back to rapping. I loved it. And with Certified Lover Boy, like, my boy Jordan, who you know Jordan, is always on here. He goes, cool, it's another Drake album. Drake's not the artist that changes sounds. He's not mind bending. He's Drake.
Hey,
he just
he's
brings
culture
you
bending.
He's culture bending. Like, he's done all this shit he's done, and I tell people he's kind of in his Jay-Z raps now.
Now he is.
Like, he's just finessing,
enough.
and he knows where he's at,
Yeah.
and he's just bringing you music because we want to hear the music.
Yeah.
Like, he's good. Trust me, he's probably like, I don't need to do this shit anymore. I'm good. But he still loves it, and he knows we want it. Like, Certified Lover Boy is a great fucking album.
It is.
There's different sounds on every track. He
Yeah.
didn't be repetitive. There is new flows. There is different sounding Drake. I think that's why people aren't gravitating towards it, because the bangers that are bangers, me and you love, but they're not the typical Drake bangers. Like, the fact he didn't put on
Vital.
Laugh Now, Cry Later
Oh, yeah.
was fire to me.
Oh, it's not on there.
No, he
Oh,
left it
wow.
off. He could have easily put that on and quote unquote the album gets this many plays or whatever. He's like, this has been out too long. I'm gonna give you something else. Like,
That
that's
is cool. I didn't even know about that.
That's fire to
cool.
me. It's not on the album. He gave you all new tracks other than us that have heard some of the leaks that he also altered, right? Like, he gave you 21 or 22 songs that are all brand new.
Yeah, wow.
He didn't even put a single on there.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which is
That's
dope.
very dope. That's
and he
very
opens
dope.
it up with like bars. I feel like Drake really rapped on this album.
He
for
did.
once.
His raps on this went crazy. And 7
like
a.m. on Bridal.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Man.
Y'all are too in tune with like the poppy like banger Drakes, where like he spit a lot of shit. I feel like went
His
over
bars-
people's heads.
his bars were
like
crazy
his
on
bars
this
are like
album.
he's also rapping shit that we don't know about. Like, only Drake
Right,
knows about
literally.
it. You know what I mean? I love it. It's dope. Like, and then the sounds, like, I've never heard really. I feel like I have heard it, but the sophisticatedness, like Pipe Talk, reminds me so much of like So Far Gone Drake.
Yeah.
But it's sophisticated now that
Uh-huh.
it's like just like mind blowing to
Yeah.
me. Like, in the tracks that we did here,
That's
like
the one with that old school 808 that sounded like.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
and like TSU,
Yeah, TSU's hard.
Mind
Simple.
Racing, like,
Yeah.
bro, those shits are crazy. Those are classic Drake records.
agree.
Like, no one can make records like that other than Drake.
Other than
no
Drake.
one can get
Agree.
singy, hooky in their bag,
Yeah,
and then
it's
all of a sudden a
different.
crazy,
It's different.
and then all of a sudden a crazy rap verse comes out, and he's just like nonchalantly rapping,
Yeah,
like, you're like,
snapping.
fuck,
Snapping, mind
it's
you.
crazy.
Snapping.
But I love both of them. I think Certified Lover Boy is more playable. I think I can throw on Certified Lover Boy anywhere, and even if people say they hate it, I'm gonna see their head nod.
Yeah, you will.
Donda, I feel like you have to really,
It's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste, and also you really have to put effort forward of not judging Kanye and just listening. I feel like a lot of
That is
people
different.
just
That
they
is
don't
different.
like it. They don't like him,
Yeah.
so therefore they
That is
can't.
different.
You know what I mean? So it's different. Like, I can't just throw
It is.
on.
Drake's received a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just throw on like a Jesus song,
Yeah.
right? And people be like, yeah, let's go
Yeah,
out
I'd
to the
be like,
club.
what the fuck?
It's more of like when I'm vibing alone, but at the same time, the songs on there are like Remote Control is fire to me. Like, that's a banger, and he's in his bag on that.
Yeah, I don't know the titles even enough to be like.
It's good. And he's not really getting in on his like shit, religious shit and all that. But I mean, I just love him. I love them both. I think Certified Lover Boy took the cake. I mean, technically it did take the cake. It blew out numbers in 3 days. That's what Drake does.
Shit on his
he
numbers.
says it on the on the albums. Better not be about the numbers, because he knows. Like, he says that shit. And on No Friends in the Industry, like he knows it. Like, he's forever. People can talk all they want. Doesn't matter. He's gonna be the most selling, most streamed, biggest artist in the world, and he did it off of hip hop.
That's wild.
Like, why don't people appreciate that?
Yeah, that's
in hip hop culture.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Essentially, it's not 90s boom bap and
he's
80s, but like and that's when I always at least go into
that Jay-Z verse is fucking ridiculous.
I'm so glad he added that on there. At first you didn't like that, but I loved it.
I just liked the original Drake, second Drake verse that he had on there, but the Jay-Z, it grew on me for sure. Yeah.
I'm just glad.
Just wisdom. He's just wisdom. Jay-Z's always going to drop wisdom.
I'm just glad we got albums to debate about, bro.
I agree. I agree.
We got a Kanye an album. Not a Jesus is King album. It's an album.
Yeah.
We got a Drake album. We got a Cole album. Kendrick looked like he's on the way with some shit. I'm excited, bro. Like, just be excited and take it in instead of being so judgmental.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, and what your expectations are.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's man. I'm just excited. I'm excited for what we have coming out too.
Man, this stuff's about to be good. Honestly, this next EP is gonna be.
We gotta let all this Drake and Donda talk die down.
I know. Facts.
But then we gotta drop.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I felt bad for anyone who dropped on that Friday or the one before or the one after. I'm like, yo, you got a long time.
Yeah.
But then I also thought about maybe it helped. Maybe it helped because people are on the streaming
It got
platforms.
in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. It's a good thing. I would like to evaluate, see what the fuck it is. You know, see if they play more.
We're gonna see. People gonna see what the fuck we got coming out.
I'm excited.
It's just gonna be the best that it's ever been.
By far.
For sure.
And that's all we can pray for is just keep getting better. Just keep putting out the best shit sonically, personal opinion wise, you know.
Facts.
Just keep putting out better and better shit. That's all I'm trying to do, you know.
And to close this out too, because I feel like we've probably hit everything we need to.
Yeah.
And it's getting that time now where it's like, all right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
But to everyone out there, man, just like it's very simple. Find the cut off acquaintances, have them, but like don't. Time is valuable, so be careful where you place your time. Be careful with what you do and how you want to do it, who you move with, and do what you love. And if you go for it and it doesn't work out, who cares?
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter. Just do it.
We're all gonna die.
And
that's a good little.
That's
thing.
the only thing we're given in life is death.
Yeah.
Each and one of every single person on this earth is only guaranteed to die from the second they're born. So what do you do with that time? And I feel like we've been great examples from where we're from, and I'm glad that people love that and look up to that. And when people ask me questions, I just say get after it. Like, don't wake up every day and question shit. Answer the questions and go do it. Execute. And then if it doesn't work out, you can say, cool, I did that. And I'm back here. And now I know that this is what I'm going to do instead.
Yeah.
So that's it.
So I think that's a good way to close it.
And I think I'm just grateful as fuck where we're at. I'm grateful for this and glad we did this.
We gotta keep doing these rounds like this, bro. We should do fucking regular check-ins of these type of things on the roof and just catch up, like what the fuck's happening.
Give people the runarounds of where we're at months later when we got the top single on the charts.
Once the shit's out there, yeah, right.
We all blammed out. Wait, what the fuck? The last episode we watched, they wasn't wearing shit. Now they all out here.
Yeah.
That's just gonna happen too. It's gonna be crazy.
I'm excited for that part.
But yeah, man. That's gonna be it. I'm glad this happened.
Absolutely.
Just another idea that we conspired about, and now it's here.
Absolutely. Hey.
My brother, my family. Shout out Matt. Matt's always helping us out, dude.
The legend himself.
Always, I can hit Matt with anything. You can too. I mean, you're the reason why I know Matt, but he's huge in this shit. I can't wait to drop the episode we did with Matt. I haven't dropped it yet, but man, just shout out Juan too for always pulling up behind the scenes work, helping us out with drinks, just the team in general. Shout out Wolf and Jordan. Thank you for letting me just handle this one. Shout out Rich for being a part of it too.
Shout out for everybody.
Shout out for everyone that's just involved, for real. And it's much love. And man, I'm just fucking stay tuned. It's always gonna get better. It's always gonna just go to the next level and do the same for your shit and whatever you're attacking. And hopefully you get something from this conversation that we had. For real. That's it. But yeah, tune in next week on the very new special episode of All Bass No Treble. We will appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, anything, comment on my shit, Rowlan's shit. We always love the hometown support. But we look forward to see you on the next episode. That's it. Love. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of All Bass No Treble. If you could please subscribe and like, and also get the notification button smashed for us, that would mean the world to us. If you'd like to keep up with myself, my co-host, or our special guest this week, all of our social medias and info is right below. And if you would like to listen, tune into Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as you can hear us on there as well. Again, thank you so much for tuning in this week, and I will see you on the next episode.